In conformity with President Muhammadu Buhari's war against corruption, the Nigerian Senate passed the Witness Protection Bill for the second time. The bill for an act to establish the Witness Protection and Management Framework was sponsored by Senator Suleiman Kwari, representing Kaduna North at the Red Chamber. Empirical evidence shows that one of the major causes of the inability to successfully prosecute criminal cases in our courts is lack of witnesses. Many of them face intimidation and threats, just as
Criminal cases
prosecutors most
in our
times do
courts
not have the funds
is the
and
lack of
management framework
witnesses.
to safely bring witnesses to
Many of
testify
them
in
face
court.
intimidation and threats, just as prosecutors most times do not have the funds and management framework to safely bring witnesses to testify in court. The passage of this bill into law will fill this gap, as well as fulfill some of the country's international commitments to various conventions and protocols, like the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC, amongst others.
And world partners in the fight against corruption request that Nigeria comply by getting certain bills, named that witness protection, whistleblower, and the process of crime passed so that we can meet with the requirements of United Nations Convention Against Corruption. Mr. President, this is the way it should be. But I want to say,
which criminalizes certain acts relating to false and misleading unlawful disclosures, false representation, and unauthorized access to a witness. More importantly, Mr. President, this will be in conformity with international requirements, and it will further place our country as a country where there's transparency and war against corrupt practices. Where corruption is a global problem, Mr. President, we must emphasize, it is a global problem because today there is global economic recession. The more reason why quite a number of people can be tempted to go into corruption. But once the laws are put in place, everybody is careful and everybody is afraid of running foul of the law. I hold the view,
distinguished colleagues, I rise to lend my support to this very important bill for two reasons. Number one, Nigeria, we are complying with the international best practices, as my colleague has said. War against corruption is a global phenomenon, and no country can do it alone. And for that reason, there is need for internationalizing war against corruption. Secondly, Mr. President, Nigeria is considered to have very weak law on war against corruption. And this law will obviously strengthen our existing laws on corruption. So it will be seen that we are complying with the international best practices, and we are also strengthening war against corruption. Mr. President, I will further say that this bill touches on money laundering, touches on trafficking, narcotics, which is the main problem in Nigeria today. And everybody should support it because narcotics, drugs trafficking, human trafficking are causing very serious problems in Nigeria.
That we are debating today is a way forward to encourage witnesses to testify against corruption, and by protecting them properly, that will incentivize such witnesses. The war against corruption is a must, and it must be won. It's not about the quantum of funds or resources that we have. but how we are able to put to use even our scarce resources. So this is a very, very important bill, and I'm sure that all of us will lend our support. With this, those in favor that this bill be now read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act